Roman Polanski slashed Jack Nicholson's nose with a knife on set. And that wasn't even the weirdest thing that happened during filming. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving deep into the dark, twisted world behind one of cinema's greatest masterpieces, Chinatown. You think you know this film? Think again. We've got 20 absolutely wild facts that'll change how you see Jake Gitz forever. Fact number 1. The nose knows terror. Let's start with that knife incident, because it's even crazier than it sounds. During the nose-slicing scene, Roman Polanski was personally operating the knife that cuts Nicholson's nostril. The director was so focused on getting the perfect shot that he actually nicked Jack's nose for real. Nicholson, being the professional he was, barely flinched, and they kept rolling. But here's the kicker. Polanski later admitted he enjoyed the moment a little too much. The bandage you see Jack wearing for the rest of the film? That's covering a genuine wound. Talk about method directing. Fact number 2. Faye Dunaway's water obsession. Faye Dunaway had one of the strangest preparation rituals in Hollywood history. She insisted on drinking exactly 8 glasses of water before every emotional scene, believing it would make her tears look more authentic on camera. The crew started calling her the fountain behind her back. But the weird part, it actually worked. Her crying scenes in Chinatown are considered some of the most haunting in cinema history. Sometimes, the craziest methods produce the most beautiful results. Fact number 3. The mysterious third screenwriter. Everyone knows Robert Towne wrote Chinatown's brilliant script, but what they don't tell you is that there was a secret third writer involved, Roman Polanski himself. Towne originally wrote a completely different ending, where Evelyn Mulwray escapes with her daughter. Polanski thought it was too optimistic and literally rewrote the ending in one night, creating that devastating final scene. Towne was so furious, he didn't speak to Polanski for months. The Oscar for Best Original Screenplay went to Towne alone. But that dark ending? Pure Polanski. Fact number 4. Jack's improvised brilliance. Forget it, Jake. It's Chinatown.
Forget it, Jake. It's Chinatown.
Arguably one of cinema's most famous closing lines, was completely improvised. The original script ended with Jake just walking away in silence. But during the final take, the actor playing Walsh felt the scene needed something more. He looked at the devastated Nicholson, and those words just came out. Polanski loved it so much he immediately called it a wrap. Sometimes the best movie moments happen when nobody's expecting them. Fact number 5. The real Chinatown connection. Here's where things get historically twisted. The film's water conspiracy plot wasn't just fiction, it was based on real events that happened in Los Angeles during the early 1900s. The Owens Valley water scandal actually involved some of the most powerful families in California, and several of them were still alive when the movie was made. Some of these families allegedly tried to pressure the studio to kill the project. The fact that Chinatown got made at all is a miracle of Hollywood politics. If you're enjoying these behind-the-scenes secrets, make sure to hit that like button. We're just getting started with the really wild stuff. Fact number 6. Faye Dunaway's method madness. Faye Dunaway took method acting to terrifying extremes for this role. She convinced Roman Polanski to let her stay in character between takes, which meant she spent weeks walking around the set as the traumatized Evelyn Mulwray. Crew members reported that she would randomly start crying during lunch breaks and often seemed genuinely confused about where she was. Jack Nicholson later said working with her was like performing opposite a live wire that might electrocute you at any moment. Her performance was brilliant, but the psychological cost was enormous. Fact number 7. The cursed production. Chinatown's production was plagued by an unusual number of accidents and weird coincidences. 3 different crew members broke bones during filming, all involving falls. The camera equipment malfunctioned so frequently that the crew started joking about the film being cursed. But the strangest incident involved the film's props. The vintage cars they were using kept breaking down in ways that mechanics couldn't explain. Engines would suddenly die, brakes would fail for no reason. One mechanic quit, claiming the cars were possessed by the spirit of old Hollywood. Whether you believe in curses or not, the timing was eerily suspicious. Fact number 8. Nicholson's character. Research Jack Nicholson's preparation for Jake Gitta's involved some seriously questionable methods. He spent weeks following real private investigators around Los Angeles, sometimes participating in actual surveillance operations. One PI later revealed that Nicholson had helped catch a cheating spouse by posing as a hotel clerk. But the creepy part? Jack enjoyed the work so much that he considered leaving acting to become a real private investigator. He even went so far as to apply for a PI license, which he apparently still holds to this day. Fact number 9. The secret stunt double John Huston, who played the villainous Noah Cross, was 67 years old during filming and insisted on doing his own stunts despite being a legendary filmmaker himself. But here's the twist. He secretly hired his own stunt double without telling Polanski. The double was actually Huston's own son, who bore a striking resemblance to his father. Several scenes that appear to show Huston performing dangerous actions are actually his son. The family kept this secret for decades, only revealing it in the 2000s. Talk about keeping it in the family. Fact number 10. The missing scenes. Roman Polanski shot almost 4 hours of footage for Chinatown, but the studio forced him to cut it down to just over 2 hours. The missing scenes allegedly contained much more explicit details about the water conspiracy and included several prominent Los Angeles families by name. These scenes have never been released and are rumored to be locked in Paramount's vault. Some film historians believe these scenes were deliberately suppressed because they contained information that could have been legally problematic for certain California families. The full version of Chinatown may be one of Hollywood's greatest lost treasures. Don't forget to subscribe if you want more hidden Hollywood secrets, because the next 10 facts are going to blow your mind. Fact number 11. Polanski's personal demons influenced everything. Roman Polanski's direction of Chinatown was heavily influenced by his own traumatic experiences, particularly the murder of his wife, Sharon Tate, by the Manson family just 5 years earlier. The film's themes of corruption, violence against women, and the powerlessness of good people trying to fight evil weren't just artistic choices. They were Polanski working through his own psychological trauma on camera. Jack Nicholson later revealed that Polanski would sometimes stop filming mid-scene and just stare into space for minutes at a time. The crew learned to recognize these moments and would quietly wait for him to return to the present. This personal darkness infused every frame of the film, creating an authenticity that scripted emotion could never achieve. Fact number 12. The water was actually toxic. The Los Angeles locations used for filming had a disturbing connection to the real water scandal the movie depicted. Several of the reservoirs and water facilities shown in the film were actually contaminated with industrial chemicals during the 1970s, though this wasn't public knowledge at the time. Cast and crew members who came into contact with the water during filming later experienced unusual health problems. Faye Dunaway developed a persistent skin rash that lasted for months after filming wrapped. 3 crew members reported respiratory issues that doctors couldn't explain. When the contamination was finally revealed years later, it added an eerie layer of real-world conspiracy to the fictional one they'd been portraying. Fact number 13. Jack's glasses were a character unto themselves. Those iconic glasses that Jake Gitz wears throughout the film have their own bizarre backstory. Nicholson found them in a vintage shop in Hollywood, and they actually belonged to a real private investigator from the 1940s who had been murdered under mysterious circumstances. The shop owner told Jack the story, but swore him to secrecy about the PY's identity. Nicholson became obsessed with the glasses, wearing them constantly during the 6-month production period. He claimed they helped him see through Jake's eyes, but crew members noticed he seemed to develop some of the paranoid tendencies of his character. After filming ended, Jack tried to return the glasses to the shop, only to discover it had mysteriously closed, and no one knew where the owner had gone. Fact number 14. The Chinatown set was historically accurate. Too accurate. The production designers went to extraordinary lengths to recreate 1930s Los Angeles, but they discovered something disturbing in the process. When they were researching authentic details for the Chinatown neighborhood set, they uncovered evidence that the original Chinatown had been the site of several unsolved murders during the 1930s. The set was built on the exact location where one of these murders had occurred. During night shoots, cast and crew reported strange occurrences, unexplained sounds, equipment moving on its own, and several people claimed to see figures in 1930s clothing walking through the set. Security guards refused to patrol the Chinatown set alone after midnight. Whether supernatural or psychological, something about that location deeply affected everyone who worked there. Fact number 15. Faye Dunaway's secret relationship drama. While filming the complex relationship between Evelyn and Jake, Faye Dunaway was secretly having an affair with Roman Polanski, which created incredibly awkward dynamics on set, since her character was supposed to be the victim of the film's villain. Jack Nicholson knew about the affair and later admitted it made their romantic scenes feel uncomfortably real. But here's the twisted part. Polanski was directing Dunaway in scenes where she's being manipulated and controlled by men, while simultaneously manipulating and controlling her in real life. The psychological complexity of their off-screen relationship bled into the film in ways that made the performances more intense, but also more disturbing. Dunaway ended the affair during post-production, claiming she couldn't separate Polanski, the lover, from Polanski, the director, and the experience left her emotionally scarred. Halfway through our list, and things are getting seriously dark. Hit that notification bell because the final facts are absolutely mind-blowing. Fact number 16. The real Noah Cross was still alive. John Huston's character. Noah Cross was based on a real Los Angeles power broker who was not only still alive during filming, but actually lived just a few miles from the studio. This man had been involved in the historical water scandals and was reportedly furious about his portrayal in the film. He allegedly hired private investigators to follow the cast and crew, looking for any reason to file lawsuits. The real Noah Cross even showed up on set one day, demanding to speak with Huston. Security had to escort him away, but not before he got into a screaming match with Roman Polanski in front of the entire crew. Huston later said meeting the real-life inspiration for his character was like staring into the face of genuine evil. The man died just 2 years after the film's release, taking his secrets with him to the grave. Fact number 17. The incest subplot nearly destroyed the film. The revelation that Noah Cross is both Evelyn's father and the father of her daughter was so controversial that Paramount executives seriously considered killing the entire project. Test audiences walked out in disgust, and several prominent critics refused to review the film. Robert Towne fought desperately to keep this plot point, arguing it was essential to the story's themes about corruption and power. The studio demanded extensive reshoots to soften the impact, but Polanski refused. The standoff lasted for months and nearly bankrupted the production. What saved the film was Jack Nicholson's personal intervention. He threatened to quit every future Paramount project if they changed the ending. His star power was enough to force the studio's hand, but the controversy followed the film for years and probably cost it several Academy Awards. Fact number 18. There were real death threats. As Chinatown neared release, several cast and crew members received anonymous death threats, warning them not to tell stories that aren't theirs to tell. The threats were so specific and detailed that the FBI opened an investigation. Someone had clearly done extensive research into the personal lives of everyone involved in the production. Faye Dunaway hired bodyguards after receiving photos of her apartment building with threatening messages. Roman Polanski, already paranoid after his wife's murder, became convinced that powerful Los Angeles families were trying to silence the film. The threats stopped as suddenly as they'd started, just days before the film's premiere, leading many to believe they'd been orchestrated by someone with serious influence. To this day, the FBI files on the case remain partially classified. Fact number 19. Jack Nicholson's post-film paranoia. After filming Wrapped, Jack Nicholson developed what he later described as Jake Gittes syndrome. He became obsessed with Los Angeles water politics and started investigating corruption in city government on his own time. He hired private investigators, attended city council meetings, and even considered running for political office. His friends and family became seriously concerned when he started carrying a gun and installed extensive security systems in his home. Nicholson claimed he'd uncovered evidence of ongoing corruption that made the film's fictional conspiracy look like a children's story. He only snapped out of this obsession after a therapist convinced him he was losing his grip on reality. The actor has never revealed what he thought he discovered during those months of investigation. Fact number 20. The curse continues. The final and most chilling fact about Chinatown is that the supposed curse didn't end with filming. Over the decades since its release, an unusual number of people connected to the film have died under mysterious or tragic circumstances. 3 crew members died in separate car accidents within 5 years of release. 2 executives who greenlit the project died of sudden heart attacks in their 40s. Most disturbing of all, several actors who played minor roles in the film later became victims of violent crimes. Roman Polanski himself fled the United States just 3 years after Chinatown's release, following his arrest for statutory rape charges. Whether you believe in curses or just consider it a series of tragic coincidences, the pattern is undeniably eerie. Some film historians refuse to research Chinatown extensively, claiming the project brings bad luck to anyone who digs too deep into its secrets. Bonus fact: the lost alternate ending. Here's the final twist that'll change everything you thought you knew about Chinatown. Deep in Paramount's archives lies a completely different ending that was filmed but never used. In this version, Jake Gittes doesn't walk away defeated. He actually succeeds in exposing Noah Cross and saving Catherine. Evelyn lives, Cross goes to prison, and justice prevails. So why wasn't this ending used? Because 3 days after filming this alternate conclusion, Roman Polanski received a phone call that changed everything. The voice on the other end allegedly told him, "Use the dark ending, or there won't be any ending at all." Polanski was so shaken that he immediately called the studio and demanded they destroy all copies of the hopeful ending. But they didn't destroy them. They just buried them so deep that only a few people know they exist. This alternate ending represents something unprecedented in Hollywood, a film where real-world power brokers may have directly influenced the artistic vision to ensure that corruption and evil triumph on screen. The fact that we'll probably never see this alternate ending makes it the greatest lost scene in cinema history, and proof that sometimes real life is more twisted than any movie could ever be. The shadows of Chinatown stretch far beyond the silver screen, reminding us that in some stories, the line between fiction and reality isn't just blurred, it's completely erased. Thanks for watching, and remember, some secrets are buried for a reason.